dogs came up on me, and the next thing I knew, all of my secrets were smashed up on you. So do me a favor and take a day.
The topic for this week is a good one, and I like how we try and be respectful on this channel and not get aggressive or angry or rude or judgmental. And I think that's good for me because I can get very passionately angry about things, and that's why sometimes when I'm talking about serious things I kind of have a weird little smile on my face, because I'm trying to force myself to be calm, and that's how it comes through, which I feel sometimes looks a bit disrespectful, but it's not meant to. So this week's topic: advice for parents of transgender or transsexual children. One of my very good friends lent me this book a long time ago, The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, if I'm saying that right, and she actually lent it to me with the express purpose of reading his passage on children and how parents should view their children. Okay. And a woman who held a babe against her bosom said, "Speak to us of children." And he said, "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backwards, nor tarries with yesterday." Oops. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. Here's a picture. So what does that mean? My interpretation is that your children are individual people, and you can't expect them to follow your path through life, right? Your children have to find their own path, and you as a parent, your job is to support them on that journey of finding themselves, of developing their own identity, developing their own worldview. I think being a parent is about supporting your child as an individual and sharing your beliefs and your thoughts and your feelings about the world, how you see society, how you see life, like what you want from life, and not being upset if they don't agree with that and if that's not what they want. As a parent, I think it's important to be able to distinguish between destructive behavior that's out of control and behavior that you might think is destructive but is actually very beneficial for your child. And I say that meaning some people look at transsexual identities as destructive, and getting surgery to make your body match how you feel inside is mutilation. So I can see a parent saying that they're just trying to protect their child from destroying their body and, you know, changing things and regretting it afterwards. I think you also have to trust your children if they can come up to you and rationally explain why this is good for them and why they feel they need to go through with hormone therapy and go through with surgeries, because statistically speaking, transsexual people have, I've heard different results actually, so I've got to be careful. I've heard transsexual youth have 40% suicide attempt rate, and then I've heard people say trans kids are twice as likely to commit suicide as other youth. Lots of different stats, but they all suggest that suicide attempts are very high and suicides are very high within the trans youth community. So in thinking you're protecting your child against destructive behavior because you don't understand the difference between maybe like a drug addiction problem and an identity crisis issue that involves significant surgical and hormonal measures, and thinking you're protecting them from making a mistake that is actually really important to them, you might destroy their lives, which I don't think any parent wants to do. So my advice to parents of children or young adults who come out to them as trans is do a lot of research on your own. If you love your child, I think you'll see that this makes them happy. I think it's a really nice position to be in, watching your child progress through transition and just becoming more confident as a person and happier and happier. I think that'd be really rewarding as a parent to see that, and I think that's something you'd want to encourage, because not supporting them is trying to stuff your child into a box of your own expectation. As the book says, that's not your purpose as a parent. Your purpose is to be a support structure, and I like that idea of you being the bow and your children are the arrows, and you give them the strength to fly forward on their chosen paths and to support them in that. So I hope that helps. I hope to all my transgender and transsexual friends, if you are struggling with your parents or your family accepting you, and there's nothing that will ever make them accept you, I don't want to be mean, but I think that's their loss. I think your family is really missing out on the chance to see you grow spectacularly as a human being. There's also, I know a few trans guys who haven't had supportive families, have made new families for themselves. That's an option. And to the families who may not be supportive, if you're not supportive, you'll lose your child one way or another. Either they will have the strength to live their lives the way they want to, and they will find people who do support them, or they might take their own life. And I think that would be really tragic. So, I hope the more we talk about it, the more people can realize that it's not a failing as a parent if your child is transsexual, transgendered. It doesn't mean that you didn't raise them properly or you made a mistake. That's not how it works. It's good to hear if that's something you're worried about. It's not your fault. Try trying to change your child back to be normal is never going to make them happy. If they do it for you, they're never going to be happy. And I think that's something every parent needs to come to terms with, that you having a child is a responsibility for you to make your child happy and to support your child in their happiness.